The storm was coming, but the winds were still, and in the wild woods of Brockhaliand, before an oak so huge, hollow and old, it looked a tower of ivied mason work. At Merlin's feet the wily Vivien lay. For he that always bare in bitter grudge the slights of Arthur and his table. Mark, the Cornish king, had heard a wandering voice, a minstrel of Caerleon, by strong storm, blown into shelter at Tintagel, say, that out of naked knight-like purity Sir Lancelot worshipped no unmarried girl, but the great queen herself, fought in her name, swear by her, vows like theirs that high in heaven love most, but neither marry nor are given in marriage angels of our Lord's report. He ceased, and then for Vivien sweetly said she sat beside the banquet nearest Mark. And is the fair example followed, sir, in Arthur's household? Answered innocently, aye, by some few, aye, truly. Youths that hold it more beseems the perfect virgin knight to worship woman as true wife, beyond all hopes of gaining, than as maiden girl. They place their pride in Lancelot and the queen. So passionate for an utter purity beyond the limit of their bond are these. For Arthur bound them not to singleness, brave hearts and clean, and yet God guide them young. Then Mark was half in heart to hurl his cup straight at the speaker, but forbore. He rose to leave the hall, and Vivien, following him, turned to her. Here are snakes within the grass. And you, methinks, O Vivien, save ye fear the monkish manhood and the mask of pure worn by this court, can stir them till they sting. And Vivien answered, smiling scornfully, why fear? Because that fostered at thy court I savour of thy virtues, fear them? No. As love, if love is perfect, casts out fear, so hate, if hate is perfect, casts out fear. My father died in battle against the king, my mother on his corpse in open field. She bore me there, for born from death was I, among the dead and sown upon the wind. And then on thee, and shown the truth betimes, that old true filth and bottom of the well where truth is hidden, gracious lessons thine and maxims of the mud, is Arthur pure. Great nature through the flesh herself had made gives him the lie. There is no being pure, my cherub. Saith not Holy Writ the same? If I were Arthur, I would have thy blood. Thy blessing, stainless king, I bring thee back, when I have ferreted out their burrowings, the hearts of all this order in mine hand. Aye, so that fate and craft and folly close, perchance, one curl of Arthur's golden beard. To me this narrow grizzled fork of thine is cleaner fashioned. Well I loved thee first, that warps the wit. Loud laughed the graceless Mark. But Vivien into Camelot stealing lodged low in the city, and on a festal day, when Guinevere was crossing the great hall, cast herself down, knelt to the queen and wailed. Why kneel ye there? What evil have ye wrought? Rise. And the damsel bidden rise arose and stood, with folded hands and downward eyes of glancing corner, and all meekly said, none wrought, but suffered much, an orphan maid. My father died in battle for thy king, my mother on his corpse in open field, the sad sea-sounding wastes of Lyoness. Poor wretch, no friend. And now by Mark the king, for that small charm of feature mine pursued, if any such be mine, I fly to thee. Save me thou, woman of women. Thine the wreath of beauty, thine the crown of power. be thine the balm of pity, O heaven's own white earth angel, stainless bride of stainless king. Help, for he follows, take me to thyself. O yield me shelter for mine innocency among thy maidens. Hear her slow sweet eyes, fear tremulous, but humbly hopeful, rose fixed on her hearers, while the queen, who stood all glittering like May sunshine on May leaves, in green and gold, and plumed with green, replied, Peace, child. Of over-praise and over-blame we choose the last. Our noble Arthur, him ye scarce can overpraise, will hear and know. Nay, we believe all evil of thy mark. Well, we shall test thee, father, but this hour we ride a-hawking with Sir Launcelot. He hath given us a fair falcon with he trained, we go to prove it. Bid ye hear the while. She passed, and Vivien murmured after, Go, I bide the while. Then through the portal arch peering askance, and muttering broken wise as one that labours with an evil dream, beheld the Queen and Launcelot get to horse. Is that the Launcelot? Goodly eye, but gaunt. Courteous amends for gauntness takes her hand, that glance of theirs but for the street had been a clinging kiss. How hand lingers in hand. Let go at last. They ride away to hawk for waterfowl. Royaler game is mine. For such a supersensual sensual bond as that grey cricket chirped of at our hearth, touch flax with flame, a glance will serve the lyres. Ah, little rat that borest in the dyke thy hole by night, to let the boundless deep down upon far-off cities while they dance or dream. Of thee they dreamed not, nor of me. These I, but each of either. Ride and dream the mortal dream that never yet was mine. Ride, ride and dream until ye wake, to me. Then narrow court and lubber king farewell, for Launcelot will be gracious to the rat. And our wise queen, if knowing that I know, will hate, loathe, fear, but honour me the more. Yet while they rode together down the plain, their talk was all of training terms of art. Diet and sealing, dresses, leash and lure. She is too noble, he said, to check at pies, nor will she rake. There is no baseness in her. Here, when the queen demanded as by chance, Know ye the stranger woman? Let her be, said Launcelot. And unhooded, casting off the goodly falcon free, she towered. Her bells, tone under tone, shrilled, and they lifted up their eager faces, wondering at the strength, boldness, and royal knighthood of the bird who pounced her quarry and slew it. Many a time, as once of old among the flowers they rode, but Vivien, half forgotten of the queen, among her damsels broidering sat, heard, watched, and whispered. Through the peaceful court she crept and whispered. Then as Arthur in the highest leavened the world, so Vivien in the lowest, arriving at a time of golden rest, and sowing one ill hint from ear to ear, while all the heathen lay at Arthur's feet, and no quests came, but all was joust and play, leavened his hall. They heard and let her be. Thereafter, as an enemy that has left death in the waters and withdrawn, the wily Vivien stole from Arthur's court. She hated all the knights, and heard in thought their lavish comment when her name was named. For once, when Arthur, walking all alone, vexed at a rumour issued from herself of some corruption crept among his knights, had met her, Vivien, being greeted fair, would fain have wrought upon his cloudy mood. With reverent eyes, mock loyal, shaken voice, and fluttered adoration, and at last with dark, sweet hints of some who prized him more than who should prize him most, at which the king had gazed upon her blankly and gone by. But one had watched, and had not held his peace. It made the laughter of an afternoon that Vivien should attempt the blameless king. And after that, she set herself to gain him, the most famous man of all those times, Merlin, who knew the range of all their arts, had built the king his havens, ships and halls, was also bard, and knew the starry heavens. People called him wizard, whom at first she played about with slight and sprightly talk and vivid smiles, and faintly venomed points of slander, glancing here and grazing there, and yielding to his kindlier moods. The seer would watch her at her petulance and play, even when they seemed unlovable, and laugh as those that watch a kitten. Thus he grew tolerant of what he half disdained, and she, perceiving that she was but half disdained, began to break her sports with graver fits, turn red or pale, would often when they met sigh fully, or all silent gaze upon him with such a fixed devotion, that the old man, though doubtful, felt the flattery, and at times would flatter his own wish in age for love, and half believe her true. For thus at times he wavered. But that other clung to him, fixed in her will, and so the seasons went.